Everyone knows about Nintendo's evergreen series like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, but it seems like every decade there's a couple series that either are brand new and become just mainstream, or older series that finally start to get more attention. We saw it in the 2010s with Animal Crossing and Splatoon. Like Animal Crossing obviously originated on the GameCube, and it always had a fan base. Like people always loved Animal Crossing, but I feel like it really became mainstream with New Leaf and then New Horizons. Like if you ask the average person who plays video games, do you know about Animal Crossing? They're gonna say yes. Like there's Lego sets of it, there's more merchandise. It's just very heavily promoted by Nintendo. Then of course Splatoon is brand new, and that became one of Nintendo's biggest series. And you have other series that are popular among Nintendo fans, like you have like Fire Emblem or Xenoblade Chronicles, but the average gamer is just not gonna know those games. Like if they're just a casual gamer, like if I asked most of my friends who I play PS5 with or on Steam with, like they're not gonna know those games. Like obviously if I ask someone who knows a lot about Nintendo, they're gonna know what it is. But those aren't really like true mainstream games that are just gonna be getting all this advertising, all this marketing, and all the same recognition as Nintendo's bigger titles. But I think there's two series specifically, and I think at least one of them will be one of those new evergreen titles, one of those new face of Nintendo titles. And the first one, which is very relevant right now, is Metroid. So Metroid, let's just get it out of the way, is a very popular series already. I'm not saying that it's not a well-known series. Like I think there's probably plenty of even non-Nintendo fans that know what Metroid is. It's been around for 40 years. It's had some of the best games of all time, but it doesn't have the same mainstream appeal as something like a Mario or Zelda or even like an Animal Crossing. Like these games are not as accessible. Like to play Metroid, like it's a commitment. Like these games are more difficult than the average Nintendo game. They're more complex. And Metroid was kind of dead for a while. It always was a little more of a niche series without being like super niche among Nintendo fans. Because if you're watching this video, you may not play the series, but I can almost guarantee you know what it is. And there's a very high likelihood you've played it, but it doesn't really compete with a lot of other Nintendo series. Like I've been doing a tournament on my community page, like of Nintendo franchises, and Metroid lost to Luigi's Mansion in the second round. And I was pretty surprised about that. I thought Metroid, because it has so many great games, would beat Luigi's Mansion, which has only 3 games and they're very high quality games, but I was really surprised. I think it's just because Nintendo hasn't treated it the same way they have with other series. Like it doesn't get like all the merchandising, it doesn't get all the promotion that some of their other series get. But now with Metroid Prime 4 and Metroid Dread selling really well a few years ago, I feel like it's starting to get more and more attention. Like Metroid Prime 4 is one of the most hyped Nintendo games I've seen in a while. Like I think I've been seeing more people hype for Metroid Prime 4 than for the new Pokemon, and it makes sense given circumstances, but I still think that's notable because all it takes is one person to just say, you know what, this game's getting a lot of attention, I'm going to try it out, and then they play the game and become a fan of the series, and it just goes from there. Like I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to sell really well. I think it could become the best selling game in the franchise. And if Nintendo sees that, they're going to start making more projects with it. They're going to start advertising more, having more merchandising. Would love to see like if they wanted to make like Lego sets of it, because they've done that with Mario, Zelda, and Animal Crossing, and now Pokemon coming next year. Like I think there's a lot that can be done to make this a more mainstream Nintendo series. But now I want to talk about a counter to what I've been talking about, is that like I said, it's not really a casual game. Like Animal Crossing, literally anyone can play. You could play it anytime you want. You can't beat the game. You just boot up your Switch or your 3DS or whatever console, and you just go into your world or your town and just customize your house, just talk to the villagers, and that's it. There's no secret paths, there's no difficult challenges, so it appeals to a lot more people. And I know Zelda is also not as casual as a game. Like these games are usually a little more difficult, like they're full adventures, but Zelda I feel like transcends that. It's just such a popular series, so well known. And you may argue that you think Metroid is this global phenomenon, or at least this globally known game by anyone who plays video games. And yes, for the most part I would agree that the average person who's knowledgeable on video games would know what Metroid is, but for casual gamers who do play like story games, like maybe on PlayStation or Xbox, like there's a good chance they're not going to know what it is, but they're going to know what Animal Crossing is, what Mario is, what Zelda is, what Pokemon is. So I'd really love for Nintendo to like hopefully have this sell well, have it perform well critically and commercially, and start to just get the word out more about Metroid and slowly like integrate it into their bigger franchises. And the other big series I wanted to talk about is Pikmin. So Pikmin for the longest time was just a pretty niche series, like loved among Nintendo fans, but not really like one of their heavy hitters. Like Pikmin 1 and 2 like sold decently, but they were more like cult classics. Pikmin 3 didn't sell well initially just because it was on the Wii U, but it was received well. And then since the Switch, like Pikmin has gotten a lot more attention with the 1 and 2 collection, with Pikmin 3 remastered, and now with Pikmin 4 just all selling well. And Pikmin's a very marketable game. Like obviously the Pikmin, like everyone loves them. The Pikmin games aren't on the same level as something like Animal Crossing, but I feel like it's a lot more accessible than a Metroid. Kind of just has that vibe about it that can appeal to a lot of people. And ever since Pikmin 4 came out, I've been noticing just Nintendo pushing Pikmin a lot more. Like I've seen it more in their advertising advertising. Their new president is a big Pikmin fan. Apparently, like, her LinkedIn profile picture literally has her holding a Pikmin. Nintendo's making more Pikmin shorts, which they did do in the 2010s around when Pikmin 3 released. I think it was a little after. But clearly Nintendo thinks a lot about this series if they're going through these efforts to make even more shorts with it and just try to get every single Pikmin game on Switch. Because remember, this was a series that had, before Pikmin 4, it had 3 games in, what was it, like 20 plus years. I think Pikmin 1 came out in like 2002, maybe 2003, and then Pikmin 4 came out in 22 or 23. So yeah, it was around 20 years, but there was only 3 main series games if you don't want to count Hey Pikmin, because that's not a main series game. So it's this like more tension to the series that leads me to believe Nintendo's really pushing this. Like, they want this to be one of their evergreen titles. Nintendo, I know they do a lot of things that seem stupid, but as a company, they also are very good at marketing. And this doesn't just go for Nintendo, but there's some games that, like, no matter what they do with the marketing, just the game's just going to sell a ton. Like, obviously with Mario, like, anytime a new 3D Mario comes out, it's going to sell well. Like, it doesn't matter the system it's on. It doesn't matter how little they market it. It's automatically going to get attention once it's announced. Or look at Zelda, look at Pokemon. Like, even though Pokemon games haven't really been good in recent years, like, they're still going to sell really well. If you look at some other series, like something like Call of Duty, like, that's just a game that everyone knows that's just going to do well every time, regardless of the quality. The big one I'd say now, especially like where we are in time, is GTA, just because it's going to be getting so much more attention with it supposedly coming out in May next year. Like, Rockstar Games could literally just announce the game, post one trailer, not do anything else, and it would sell ridiculous. Like, it would be one of the best selling games of all time, or at least of the generation, just from that. So that this isn't to say that something like a Pikmin will ever be on the same scale as that, because it won't. But the more that Nintendo gets more people into this series, the more that they're going to just expect games to do well, because that really is what an evergreen title is. For those of you who don't know that term, basically just means it's just always going to make money. Like, there's some games that are risk, like a niche or Nintendo series, like sometimes they do well, but they're not a guaranteed success. An evergreen title is what I've been talking about in this video, like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon. That's just always going to do well, always going to be in the spotlight. And something like Splatoon is a brand new franchise, or not brand new now, it's 10 years old somehow, but that's a series that came out on a poorly selling console first, the Wii U, still sold well there, and now is one of Nintendo's biggest series. Like, it's something that they've kind of made an evergreen series for, or an evergreen title for them. And then, of course, I mentioned Animal Crossing. Like yes, it was still fairly popular before New Leaf, but that's when it really just became like instantly one of Nintendo's more popular series. Because when they have all these people talking about it, like all these people who will play it for years, all this extra merchandise, like their collaborations with Lego, like when a company partners with Lego and a kid sees that there's an Animal Crossing Lego set, even if they don't know what it is, they might be curious. They might be like, oh, this looks cool, and then check out the game. So something like that, just I think really helps both companies, but it really shows like how important Animal Crossing is to them. And something like a Pikmin, I think, is probably the best choice right now for something like this, or Metroid, but I think that's a little less likely. I think it's always going to be a popular series for Nintendo fans. It's probably only going to get more popular, but I think it's just a lot harder to give it the mainstream appeal that Pikmin could potentially get. Now, I know someone might comment something like this, talking about maybe like Fire Emblem or Xenoblade, and while those series are very popular, they're just never going to be able to have anywhere near the same type of like presence, at least like beyond gaming or for marketing, at least in North America, just because they're not accessible games, like, at least for like the average person. And I know Metroid, I said, isn't the most accessible game either, but Xenoblade and Fire Emblem are like very much JRPGs, like very time-intensive games that aren't exactly the easiest to pick up and learn. Plus, they don't really have like mascots the same way that like Pikmin or Metroid do, where there's Samus and then you have the Pikmin. Like Animal Crossing was extremely easy for Nintendo to start to like get more merchandise with them out, because they're just like colorful animals that like will appeal to the kids, that will really like stand out to anyone. Like Xenoblade or Fire Emblem like doesn't have that, and Pikmin does too. Like everyone loves the Pikmin. And one more I want to talk about, like something like Luigi's Mansion. Like, I don't really put it in the same category just because I consider it to be its own franchise, but it's also like people know who Luigi is because of Mario. So no matter how successful that series is, it's like always going to be tied in with the Mario franchise, like not be like it's completely like own thing, if that makes sense. But Luigi's Mansion has definitely been selling a lot well. Like I think Luigi's Mansion 3 like sold a ridiculous amount, and I said earlier it took down Metroid in the tournament. It took down Pokemon somehow. So people really love that series too. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think will be like Nintendo's next evergreen series, what you think it should be, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this. I have a lot of other content on a lot of other Nintendo games. This has been Domain with Game Domain. Thank you for watching.